Good morning, everybody. It is Monday morning, just before 10 a.m., and I am here with some interesting questions from the group that came up this week. If you aren't aware, we do office hours every Monday where we answer questions that happen in our Facebook group, and these questions range from what products or services people should be using to the best platforms based on just a ton of different factors. So let's jump in without further ado. Again, if you haven't been part of the group, you are more than welcome to join at any time. We don't charge a fee to be a part of this group. We believe that giving back is incredibly important to our ecosystem. At the same time, we do limit that information to kind of once a week office hours. But if you have a question, a comment, or something that you're trying to accomplish, you can totally hang out with us in the group. You come in, you ask your questions, we'll answer them for you. And again, it's a very curated, easy way to do stuff. Good morning, George. Nice to see you. And so with that, let's go in and answer the first question. So funniest question that I've gotten in a while was from someone that says, hey, we've been doing well on Etsy. And I find myself getting very stressed out when I get a bad review. In fact, I found myself giving away more free stuff and coupons so that won't happen. Am I just wasting my time? So the answer is no, you are not wasting your time. Okay. You are not wasting your time making sure that customers are getting the best experience possible. However, if you might be concerned that someone, and we know this, we've seen these people on social media, they just whine to get their way. They just threaten bad reviews. They threaten this. Again, I'm not condoning or, saying that this isn't a thing. Like, we know that there are certain people. A very smart little team of people has put together what I think is probably one of the funniest things I've seen in the history of doing marketing, which is a Karen check. The Karen check widget, for those of you that have Etsy, will allow you to look at someone's profile and see aggregated across all of the different merchants and sellers if they just chronically leave bad reviews. So think of it this way. If you are getting a complaint from a customer and you're like, gosh, I'm trying to do everything, but nothing is making this person happy. They just keep steamrolling me. I am not getting, I feel like I'm going in circles, and, they just ultimately, not only do they want free stuff, but they just they're just not letting up. Don't worry. Have no fear. Karen Check is here. And so this is a Chrome extension that you can put into your Google Chrome browser. You can put in the URL of the Etsy user, and it is going to show you hey, if this person's never left a bad review, and they've got hundreds of purchases, then maybe hey, I'm going to take the weight of this complaint a little bit more seriously because this person doesn't complain. Or if you can see that this person has a ton of purchases and just tons of bad reviews on all the merchants because they didn't get their way, this can be a tool that you use to decide. Now, apologies to any of my friends out there named Karen. I am sure this might annoy you. But also it's kind of funny. So just let's take a moment and relax for a second. Karen Check. Again, you can go to this website, you put in the name of the buyer. And so you view the user profile, copy the URL, go ahead, tell them you're not a robot, and it is going to give you all that information. The people that came up with this definitely are asking, hey, if you like what we've done, go ahead and put in, give a dollar or two for a developer that's solving a problem for small business owners. And it basically says, hey, Etsy doesn't have a buyer rating system like most other e-commerce platforms. So seeing the review history is an even playing field. And so it's really just to understand buyer activity. However, I think you guys know that you can't always make a customer happy. And so if you take a moment, you go through this platform, you put their URL in, then you can decide hey, what is the next steps that you're going to take? So someone that maybe, out of 500 Etsy orders, 400 of them have complaints, or 200 or 300 of them have complaints, you just know probably that person is not going to, they're gaming the system. So I think it's a great tool. It can help. And I think for people that are really getting anxious about bad reviews, understand we're seeing this right now, right? People go into a restaurant, they're complaining about how slow the service is. Never mind the fact that we can't find, people to work, or, it's just more people doing less, et cetera. So, or more people doing more and less positions to fill, right? So have a little bit of empathy in that process. And again, a bad review is an opportunity. You address the review, you give them a point of contact or a way that they can reach out, but you don't argue with the customers on social media. I will say, I will drop the name of an account that has been particularly funny. I believe it is a coffee shop that actually acts out their bad reviews. So when people, leave these really lengthy reviews, the coffee shop actually reenacts it from their perspective, which I think is pretty funny. It's a great way to do that. Question number two for this morning is, I have all of this video content, but it doesn't resize. How am I going to take this widescreen content and resize it for Instagram, TikTok, and other platforms if I don't have the budget for an editor? So we know that happens all the time. You have content you've shot it in widescreen, you're like, crap, I need to resize this. So I'm going to share with you another tool that does some incredible video editing. And I will also drop this one in the comments. If you want to see how any of these tools work in the Strategy Solved group, we will actually be doing the physical process of breaking down how to use the tool, how you can use that tool, and we'll do demos for you, but we do not do that on our public live stream. So if you want to see how that happens, you'll have to come into the group. And I am putting that there for you, because I've had a couple people send a message and they're like, how do I get in there? It's really simple. You just promise you're not going to be a terrible human in the group and be collaborative. It's really that simple. So let's pull up this video editor. And again, this specific question is, I have all this video, I don't know how to resize it, don't have a budget for tons of video editing. How do I edit this quickly? And is there a tool that I can DIY? The answer is yes, there is a tool that you can use to DIY. And I don't know, I'm going to say it's Kamua or Kamua. The pronunciation is a little bit lost on me here, but I am going to show you this particular tool, which is pretty amazing. You'll go ahead and see it in just a moment. But what it allows you to do is to upload the clips of video that you have. And again, you can see here, as you have that editor or that video up large, you're able to go ahead and scroll it down for the size that you need it to be, which I think is incredible, because you don't have to have a tech background to be able to do it. So again, this one is going to go into the comments as well. And what we're going to do is drop that in. So again, if you need to caption, if you need to resize, if you need to do any of this stuff, super important to make sure that you know that this is an option here. They've got a couple of different ways to do it. You can caption and subtitle in 60 different languages. And again, there's some automation that you can set up in the process, but it's really going to walk you through hey, you can add subtitles to your Instagram videos, Snapchat, whatever tools that you're using that are going to be in that portrait mode as opposed to landscape. So just something to consider if you've got footage that you just haven't done anything with because you don't have the time, and you can preview what the footage is going to look like in real time. So you decide where you want that thing to slide. You can use the snippets to do that. Pretty awesome. And again, you can take a YouTube video and turn it into a TikTok video. So for those of you guys that have spent a lot of time building your TikTok following or your YouTube following, and you just want to repurpose content back and forth between the two platforms, this is the platform that is going to do it for you. And again, you can start really small. And if you tend to do more and more edits, then obviously you're going to have to pay, just like anything else. But what's really cool is if you look at some of the ad stuff that's here, there's a generator that can do some of this for you in more of an AI perspective. So again, if you're looking at this and you're going, okay, let's figure out how we're going to do this, and let's figure out, how do we edit this video? How do we repurpose this video? This is going to be the tool that's going to work for you. And then the last one is this happens all the time, and I am 100% in the same boat, which is if you have to churn out a ton of copy for work, but you aren't a fantastic writer, or, you just for example, we do a variety of content for different people in different industries. Sometimes it's really hard to be excited about things that maybe aren't your core competency. And maybe you just kind of need someone to double check what you've written. So this tool is particularly impactful, at least for me, because I do suffer from a little bit of dyslexia. So I tend to write stuff and look at it afterwards and go, what was I thinking? But that being said, it is called Content Row. So Content Row has this ability to identify text. And again, for those of you, I have some colleagues that use it when they are trying to negotiate actually in contracts. So they want more active language. So what you can tell from this thing is I just did a little faux piece of content that said like 3 reasons working remote is better. And so you can see it's already highlighted a bunch of the things that I've written, and it's kind of saying, hey, like you need to work on this. And so it's telling me on the right hand side how many words are there, how many characters. It's telling me that it's got a neutral sentiment, but that there is a bias to the writing that is slightly feminine. Being that I write for a lot of men, this is incredibly important to note. It's telling me the grade level at which this is written. Keep in mind, most copy, unless you're in the science or extreme academia, needs to be written at a 5th or 6th grade level. So that's incredibly important. But keep scrolling down. It's going to tell you, hey, like boring words. And it's actually going to tell you like, hey, this is pretty generic. It's weak. Or it's, it's just detracting from the vividness or the specificity of your writing, which I think is pretty incredible. And it's also picking up that feminine bias, which is, hey, use active voice. While passive voice is not grammatically incorrect, it shouldn't, it could detract from the clarity and the precision of your content. So again, what you can do is you can go in here, you can create a post, you can analyze a headline, and you can say, hey, like, can you rewrite it for me? So after I've written it, it's gone in there. It has rewritten it based on what it thinks. I can also have it go in here and say like, hey, I have a headline. I'm trying to think of something, which is 3 resources to use for your small business. And it's going to look at this and it's going to say, based on what we're finding on the internet, it's got a 55 quality score, which is good. Hey, consider replacing this. Hey, try to use best, worst, funniest. Hey, it's lacking emotion. Hey, hey, like you're using fear, like maybe you don't want to use fear, you want to use happiness. So again, this is another great tool to help you. Again, if being not the best writer, for example, is not an excuse to not put out content. So again, a tool like this can really help you just get very clear about the stuff that you're off base on. And over time, what you'll learn is that this information is helping you be clearer in your writing. I highly recommend it if you, again, are in the proposal process or you're working with the client and you're not sure if how you're communicating is effective. And if it tells you that communicating passively and you're supposed to be the expert in the situation, take a step back. Don't necessarily listen to the AI that's going to rewrite it. Take a look and say, okay, how can I make this more clear or precise or concise? So that is this week's tools. They are dropped in the link. Again, first one is going to be Karen Check, which is that really kind of funny, thing for Etsy sellers to look up someone's profile. Again, if you want to evaluate how they're doing and you want to see like, hey, do I give this person the world or do I just take it with a grain of salt because they're just bad reviewers and that's what they want to do? The second one is Kamwa. So Kamwa is that video editor that allows you to resize video from portrait to landscape to Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, all the different platforms. Last one is going to be Content Row. Content Row is that AI helper. It's going to tell you if your writing is active voice or passive voice. It's also going to identify, hey, you're using really generic words. Maybe we should, are you trying to convey emotion? It's also going to tell you, just overall what the strength is based on data. So that's what I like. So if you have questions and you are looking to get some answers to your marketing questions or you just need resources, join us in the group. It is linked here below. We answer these questions every Monday morning. We take about 15 to 20 minutes. We pick the ones that keep coming up most often, and we are here to serve you. So how about that? Have a great Monday.